Sometimes you like to customize the appearance of the composable that you are designing beyond the parameters that you pass into that composable. For example, in our image composable, we have specified an image to show and also its content description. But what if we want to change its size, its width and height, or if we want to give it a border, or if we want to make it clickable? How do we do that? In fact, Compose UI has a mechanism for changing the behavior and appearance of your composables when you are designing them, called modifiers. Modify is an English verb that means changing, altering, manipulating. So, a modifier is a mechanism that can be used for almost every composable out there, especially built-in composables, that allows you to change the behavior and appearance of that composable and, in short, customize it. So let's use modifiers in this video in order to customize the composable that we created to show our image. Currently, I have two images on my preview pane, but to make it simple, I'm going to comment out one of them, the second one, and I'm going to work on the first one. In order to add a modifier to our image composable and make it easy for reuse, I'm going to send a modifier parameter to my picture composable. So here I'm gonna add to the list of parameter a new parameter called modifier. The type is modifier. And make sure you import the modifier from androidx.compose.ui package. Alright, in order to make it simpler to call and make it optional to pass in the modifier, I give it an empty modifier as the default value of this parameter so that we don't have to always pass in the modifier parameter. So now, in order to call it with modifier, I'm going to my preview picture composable, and here I'm gonna give it the modifier that I want. So I type modifier equals, this is the third parameter as defined by our composables list of parameters. Before using any modifier, let's see what we are going to do. Let's lay out our plan. I'm going to specify a background for my picture composable, and after that I'm going to give it a padding, and after the padding I'm going to give it a border. Yeah, a border. And in fact we could even start with a border and then padding and then another border, and after that we add some clipping to our image so that it is aligned with our border. Let's see that in action. So for modifier, I start with the modifier. This is the way we start creating modifiers. Modifier dot background. This is one of the modifiers that are defined by Compose UI API. So I give it a color, for example, color dot white. I import color. And to show it better, I'm gonna press enter. And the good thing about modifiers is that you can chain them. So I'm gonna show the modifiers, each of them in one line. So I chain them to each other. When you chain a modifier, it returns a modifier so that you can call another modifier on it and therefore create a chain of modifiers. It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful design. And after background, we were supposed to give it a border. So I give it a border like this. I import border, and the border starts with the width. There are several ways to call it. I select the third one. So for the width, I give in 5 dp or dip. I import dip. This is the way we specify units in Jetpack Compose. And after border, I specify its color, color.blue. And for the shape, I leave it as its default shape, which is rectangle shape. And the next one was after the border, we were supposed to give it a padding. So I give it a padding of 16 dip, for example. Make sure you import padding as well. And after padding, we were supposed to add another border. You can be very creative. This is just my design and my taste. You can change it to whatever you like. After padding, I'm gonna give it another border. And I'm gonna make this border a little bit more exciting. First, I give it the width. Again, 5 dip. You can give it a different width. And after width, I specify the color. For color, I give it color.yellow. And for shape, I'm gonna pass a circular shape. So for the value of this parameter, I type rounded corner shape. This is one of the composables of Compose UI API that allows you to create round corners. And what do we need to pass into this composable? One easy way to make this composable is just to pass in the size of the corners. So I give it 5 dip. And that's it. So let's see the output so far, see what we have. We need to refresh our layout. All right, now we have the preview of our composable just the way we designed it. We have our white background, then we have a blue border, and we have a 16 dip padding, and then another yellow border that is rounded corner shape. As you can see, if I zoom in, you will see that its corners are round. In fact, you can give it bigger size to be more distinguishable. But as you can see, we have a problem. Our image corners are standing out of the border that it has been given to. What can we do about that? In fact, and fortunately, we have another modifier that we can use for our image composable so that we can clip parts of it. This modifier is called clip. This allows us to cut its sharp corners so that it stands nicely and aligned with our yellow border. So I call .clip, I import clip, and what it does, it receives a shape parameter. So for shape, I use a rounded corner shape. In fact, I'm gonna use the same rounded corner shape that I used for its border with a size of 5 dip. And now let's refresh our view. We should be able to get rid of those sharp corners. There we go. As you can see, now we have our preview of the composable just the way we want it to. So you see that modifiers give us a lot of options to modify the appearance and customize it for our composables, and also it gives us capabilities like adding behavioral changes, for example allowing us to make a composable clickable, that we will talk about in the upcoming sections. But for now, you got a good glimpse at how modifiers can be useful in designing our composables.